Hello and welcome back to Equestrian Education at Uplift Equine. Today we're going to be talking about the double bridle, which in my opinion has to be one of the most misused and misunderstood pieces of equipment out there today, especially due to all of the dressage controversy out there. So let's take a look about what kind of double bridle combos that you have, because the one that you see in the Olympics is not the only kind. So first, the double bridle is a dual bit system in the horse's mouth or on their face. There are a few ways to double bridle. So you've got the snaffle curb combo, which is the one that you see the most often in the Grand Prix higher level dressage events. There's the longe-cavesson curb combo, which is the most classical edition of this, and I think is the first combo that came into existence. Then you have the longe-cavesson academic curb combo, which the academic curb is a little bit different because you've got a connection up at the bit portion of the bit versus the curb portion of the bit, so you can actually have 4 reins on this one single bit. You've got the longe-cavesson snaffle combo, which you've got your longe-cavesson and then your snaffle, so there's no curb action. It's just transferring aids and knowledge from the longe-cavesson, which is bitless, to a snaffle bit. And then you have the longe-cavesson hackamore combo, which is the only English version of a bitless double bridle combo. Then you have the Bosal curb combo, which you see in most Western things. And then you have a new one that I saw on the internet a few weeks ago, and that is the longe-cavesson cordeo combo, which I don't disagree with, but I don't agree with the original concept, because the original concept is too close to the modern day concept of using a double bridle, because that concept is one bit says one thing and then the other bit says the other thing, and one of them cannot be removed if you want to keep doing advanced high collection movements, which is not true. And there's where the miscommunication lies in all of this nonsense. So the snaffle curb combo is misused, and many riders use the 2 bits together to create a stronger leverage action. Or they argue that in order to communicate all of the complex aids needed for Grand Prix dressage, you must have both of them present. Both reasonings are the wrong way to double bridle. The original double bridle setup is the longe-cavesson curb combo. This is specifically to be able to gradually transfer aids from the starter equipment to the advanced equipment that they used in warfare. Starter equipment being the longe-cavesson, which is bitless. The key here is transfer of aids, not increasing complexity of aids, but the transfer of aids. The transfer of aids from the first piece of equipment to the more advanced piece of equipment and seat. So part of the aids that are being transferred from the starter set, which would be either the longe-cavesson or a snaffle, is then transferred to the curb and seat, not the curb and keep the other thing. Eventually the horse must be transferred out of the original equipment. So this is why you see riding masters, like the old riding masters, riding around with the snaffle rein completely dropped and only on the curb. This is indicating a full and complete transfer of aids. We don't really see that in the highest of highly collected Grand Prix riders, do we? In fact, if you talk to one, and I'm not saying that they're all like this, because I do know one that would probably not argue against this, but would have a wonderful conversation about this in a friendly debate, and then still be friends with you afterwards. But I am sure a lot of them, if you try to tell them that at the end of their training in Grand Prix, that you should have everything off the curb and the seat and drop that snaffle completely, they would argue you away from that, because a lot of riders' opinions is that you need a complex combo of leg and hand aids in order to ride Grand Prix. It's nuts in my opinion. One of the magic things about horses is they're incredibly versatile and can learn new things quickly given the right environment and the right method. But continually adding stronger equipment and stronger aids without letting up is what stacks their anxiety until an explosion happens. And those explosions are usually featured on certain other YouTube channels. But if you're going to take on a double bridle, you need a structured and loose timeline. Loose meaning it's really up to the horse. It's not up to you. Loose as in, when I get this reaction, this action, this is where I'm going to move on to. Not, I'm going to insist on this date that the horse must be ready for this thing, and then we move on no matter what the horse says about it. So that's what I mean by loose timeline. So, equestrians, if you are not up for the transfer of aids plan the double bridle is made for, then just keep to a snaffle or bitless bridle. If your hands are not balanced and independent enough to articulate the equipment properly without needing to strap the horse's mouth shut at the same time, then you don't have any business handling a curb. So if you'd like to learn more about this transfer of aids plan and concept with me, just shoot me an email. It's right here and down in the comments. And I would be completely willing to start you off as an online education student. But yes, we will talk about the transfer of aids thing much later. And I really hope that this kind of steers people in the correct direction when it comes to double bridle. It is not a torture device, though it can be used as one. It is not completely meant to make everything more complex and more complicated. It is simply to transfer things from one piece of equipment to another piece of equipment, and eventually that first piece of equipment becomes non-functional, like you just take it away and then things become simple. But that's the idea anyway. Thanks for watching, and please join us in our other videos. Have a wonderful day.